Yeah, Bitcoin still holding steady after that big breaking news a couple of days ago with PayPal, which is really, really big news. And we have a couple of articles here from Cointelegraph, and of course you always take those with a grain of salt. Obviously that's their goal, is to push their Bitcoin, and I'm big bullish long on Bitcoin. Bitcoin here has been went up to around 13K for the last couple of days and is holding, except that it's starting to come down a little bit, which I think is to be expected. I think it'll come down a little bit, in my opinion, and then just hold until the election, and then it's going to go a little bit one way or the other, depending on who gets in. Obviously, one candidate is pro-business and pro-economy, and obviously one isn't. So that's a whole other story, but we will get into those things. This is not a political show, but this is an economic show, and that is the reality. There's no way around that, especially with unbelievable amounts of tax increases on capital gains. In an economy gutted by a pandemic is absolutely insane, but we're going to talk about that in a different show. But the follow-up here, and you know, even with PayPal, this is not surprising at all. It went back up. It went up for a nice, decent bump for a couple of days, and it's already back down. But that's just because that's a reflection of the whole economy being what it is, being stifled, being shut down unnecessarily. But Bitcoin is a little bit of the outsider, kind of becoming an insider a little bit. But it's always going to have a couple of toes, hopefully, on the outside, either that or at least the space of crypto. But that's why I think it's still at this 13 mark. Clearly, it's hit resistance in the ceiling there. It's not going to go above that right now. It's not going. Nothing like that's going to happen for the next couple of weeks until the election is over with. But this really just garners more attention. The use of PayPal extending its framework to Bitcoin users. Now, this says it could triple its base. It's not going to triple its base. It's going to certainly increase its base, and with more push and promotion from PayPal, this is really big news. It really is. According to data from Glassnode, Bitcoin currently has over 187 million users. Of course, most of them are hodlers. But PayPal actually has active accounts, 487 million. This is just huge news. Even if PayPal's been somewhat forced in their hand with central banks, which is a whole other story, promising to get into the digital space. Clearly, to be able to control your own money as they are starting to force negative interest rates, which might even be becoming a reality in the UK real soon. We're going to have a little report on that probably over the weekend. As that hits the UK, that's something that's really going to have a big shock and having a tremendous effect. And we're going to have to go over that, but as they say, you've been warned. Make sure you start planning, and we'll go into some other things that we'll be able to plan on trying to pull out some money and move it to different assets and different other strategies. But Bitcoin is on the path to outperforming banks. While it seems that payment processing companies and cryptocurrencies are finding more synergy as time passes, the same cannot be said for banks. Well, no, Sherlock. And this struggle is reflected in their stock price. Who hasn't seen, especially over the last 10 to 12 years, certainly since the fiasco and the crash of 2008, that major banks don't want any small players or your average players. And you could argue that they didn't really want them before, but you've definitely been pushed out. So always good to go to your local credit unions. I've personally built up for personal and business relationships with fantastic credit union and some others, and I definitely recommend the same. look for alternative options in the credit union space for those of you who haven't done that before. It's much friendlier service. I've used a couple over the years. The one that I'm using quite a bit here is, man, I just have nothing but the best news, the best business dealings in the relationship. It's actually fine. I have no problem actually going to the bank. I don't feel like this big edifice of secrecy is overlooking my shoulder, even though, yes, they are, but I'm just telling you, the experience is different, and you're able to really be able to get a relationship where there's more flexibility. According to experts, Bitcoin may even benefit from what some call the Robin Hood effect, where retail investors with disposable income purchase an asset via fee-free gamified investing platforms. I'm not really buying that so much. I am buying that as this is a big play by a big payment processor, PayPal, that this will affect those in the current processing space, and even those who are in horizontal and vertical spaces that are close to this, because there's always a play for a little bit of follow the leader. That's just the perception and the intangibles that go along with finance and investing and the mood of the market.